YouTube, this is the Omnitron 12345 coming at you live for, just YouTube, this is the Omnitron 12345 coming at you live for, just YouTube, trying to see how this is 12345 coming at you live for just see how this is going to work. Well, guess that's it. So guys, I am back. So I'll ask you questions. I will now spin you a manly yarn while I wait for your questions. So there's these two guys named Jack Flap and Knuckles. And they think they want a story. But what they really want is to dance. Well, this is going swimmingly, I can already tell. So, if anyone's on, what's going on with you guys? So, let's see what we've got here. Okay, well, Rez Reads is on the chat. Hi, Rez. And looks like she's the only one. Guys, I think I might be getting delayed here. Is everything coming through all right? Okay. Okay. we are back. Possibly. I have no idea. Well, if anyone can hear me, I am perfectly here. Perfectly here. So, well, let's see here. Well, apparently, in terms of news, apparently, um, She-Venom is going to be in the Venom movie. So there's that. And, yeah. Oh, looks like we got two people watching here. Nope, no, that was just one. Yeah, guys, again, this is mostly just testing it out. If I, this is mostly just a test run, there's, doing everything prepared. I'm just doing this kind of, just to see how things are gonna work. Things like that. So, yeah, if anyone's watching, wants to, you know, get things moving along. Oh, and yeah, we have Mind the Comics here. Hello, thank you for joining things. So, uh, if you're just coming in, this is my first stream. And guys, well, I will be right back. And I am sorry about that. My dog wanted to be let out. So, anyone have any questions? Bring them forth. I mean, if you guys want to talk about anything, I am down for that. Uh, so, how's everybody doing? Everybody having a good day? Yeah, I'm having a pretty good day. Yep, so, it's, yep, so, yep, I cannot complain. Cannot complain at all. So, let's see here what's going on here. Let's see here, okay, there's, oh, Piero, um, okay, let me see if I can do this here. Piero Alejandro Mendez Portocarrero. I am sorry if I butchered that name completely. I am completely sorry. So, three people, not that bad of a turnout so far. I'm just glad you guys are, showing up and, hearing me make a fool out of myself, apparently. But, yep, I am, yep. So, is there, anything, this is a Q&A. Feel free to, guys, feel free to ask me anything you want. Anything at all. Um, I mean, okay, I'll get started. So, Paulo Costa, hello. Okay, Mind the Comics asks, okay, I've only watched a couple of your vids, but tell us a bit about you. Well, I was born in a log cabin. I'm just kidding. Well, I'm from Mississippi native. I'm also, half Creek Indian, half Irish. and I work at an AT&T. My interests include baseball, video games, comics, anime, and manga, and that's pretty much it. Also, I'm definitely allergic to shellfish. Yep. So, yeah, just keep coming with, keep going with the question, guys. Top. Uh, and I'll be right back, guys. My dog wants back in. And I am back. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, top comics ever. Mind the Comics asks. Well, for me that would have to be All-Star Superman. All-Star Superman. Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. And yeah, that. Yeah, that's pretty much mine. In case you guys aren't wondering, I'm totally blanking on most of those. I've got so many, but yeah, it's definitely also Superman. Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow? As the two ones that are sticking out right in my head right now. I really think. I'll definitely. I'll probably think of definitely a lot more as we go on. But yeah, that's Oh, and oh, how could I forget? Wonder Woman. No, it was Justice League. League of One. JLA America. League of One. Favorite DC Elseworld? That would have to be a toss-up between Gotham by Gaslight or Superman Red Sun. Thank you for the question, Paulo. But yeah, Superman Red Sun, I think it's one of Mark Millar's better works. Only because he really does commit to the whole, um, parallel timeline aspect, and really, even if it is like communist Superman, he still manages to make it about Superman. It's still clearly, even if it's heavily altered Superman, he's still ultimately Superman. He's still ultimately a good guy. Yeah, oh yeah, Jelly the Nail, that's also a good one, Apollo. Not one of my favorites, but it's a pretty good one. I still remember, I actually have it somewhere, on my shelf. Mine the comic says, do I go to a local comic store? Yes, I do. It's Southern Fried Comics. It's a bit away from where I live, so only go there like once a month. But yeah, I'm fairly frequent it fairly often. Well, as much as I can within a month. Usually I spend at least a day, half a day there when I get time off. Once a month. Pretty nice, great selection. You know, it's it's a nice homey comic store. It's not that big, but it has plenty of selection. Great staff. Buddy of mine works up there. It just a it's a nice day once a month to just go up there and like talk comics. So, you guys tell me, what's your favorite comic store? Do you have one where around you, where you like to go to, like, just shoot the breeze about comics, around where you guys live? Most okay. Paolo asks me, most treasured rarity in my collection. Ooh, that is a good one. A lot of my older comics come from my grandpa. He was a huge comic book collector, and he had an issue of Superman that was, it's really hard to find these days. And I kind of after he died, I ended up getting most of them, at least the ones that survived. His basement ended up flooding, but it is Superman 80, 1953. It introduced Hulk Car, who was pretty much a prototype version of Mon-El. So yeah, I know it may not be as rare as I think, but I always remembered like that was kind of like my first introduction to kind of like an extended Superman family, before I read anything with Supergirl in it or anything like that. So I consider it, kind of it's kind of a personal value to me anyway. Okay, Paolo says nowadays I get my pull list from okay, but that's cool. Yeah, I usually reserve just a few things that really am interested in ahead of time. But usually I just go and love to just browse, see some new stuff, all that good stuff. As far as I'm actually really into this new uh, new comic. At least it's not exactly new, but it's been out for a long time. But I've only just now gotten into it. Strontium Dogs. It's by 2000 AD. It's basically it's in the Judge Dredd universe. And yeah, it is a it follows Johnny Alpha, who is this pretty much this he's pretty much a bounty hunter in the wastelands, and it's a pretty interesting comic. Okay, and mine the comic says he has to go, so um yeah, see you, man. Okay, Paolo says my first treasured rarity is the first squadron. Oh, Squadron Supreme. Yeah, okay, Squadron Supreme. I always liked the concept of the Squadron Supreme. I mean, I know even if they're supposed to be even if they are pretty much supposed to be just Marvel's version of the Justice League, I do like them on the basis of, okay, it's the Justice League, but there's no established rules for them. You know, they can pretty much play them however they want. And pretty much, it's pretty much the closest thing we can get to like a consistent Justice League, Marvel, DC kind of crossover anytime they want. Hmm. And Paolo says, from 2000 AD, I have most of the Nikolai Dante collections. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. I have actually a lot of 2000 AD stuff, mostly Dread stuff. I have Necropolis from Judge Dredd. Okay, I mean, here's a list of all the Judge Dredd stuff I have. Uh, um, basically, I have okay, I have Devil's Island. I have The Return of Rico. I have let me think here. I got Return to Mega City. I, I have Crime and Punishment. The Exo Men. I have the Exo Men. I have Death of a Judge. Um, I have, let's see here, the Apocalypse War. And what else? I have Judge Dredd America. And I'm trying to think what else. And let's see here, what am I Yeah, I'll probably think of more as it goes along. Oh, all the judge death stuff, all the stuff with the judge death and the dark judges, things like that. In case it's not obvious, I'm a huge Judge Dredd fan. Yeah, so yeah, just keep going with the questions, guys. Are there any comics you guys are checking out now, or I mean, I just I personally just finished the Castlevania Netflix series. Loved it. I am so pumped for season two. I'm glad they're bumping it up to 8 episodes instead of season one's 4 episodes. But I heard that season one was originally supposed to be a movie, but they made it a series. But okay, so um, is there any? But yeah, I'm a huge Trevor Belmont fan. He's my favorite member of the Belmont family. Um, So yeah, I'm just glad we got this because really Konami has been doing shit with their properties lately. I don't know how many of you guys are gamers or anything, but I mean, I like ever since they fired Kojima, things have just gone downhill for them. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I really hope we do eventually get a new Castlevania. I heard they were making one. I haven't heard about that, but anyway, like I said, here I am rambling about Konami. Anything else you guys interested in? Want to talk about? I mean, what makes you guys tick? You know, um, you know, you know, you know, just anything you're into now. Okay, Apollo says limiting my collections to 80s, 90s stuff. Nexus. What isn't that's kind of the comment that's kind of based on Space Ghost. Um, John Sable. I think I've heard of that, and Grimjack. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. I accidentally hit mute. But okay. Yeah. Grimjack. I think I've heard of that one. isn't Grimjack kind of like the pirate guy? I think he's. I could be horribly wrong. I am sorry if I am about that. Um, I remember. I think I remember seeing a comic. Okay. Oh, okay. Anyway, Powell says Next is a sci-fi with a bit of political thriller. I seem to remember reading something with a guy named Nexus, and he reminded me of Space Ghost. John Sable is a mercenary who moonlights as a children's book writer. Okay. Um. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay. Oh, John Ostrander wrote Grimjack. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to check that out then. I'm a huge John Ostrander fan. I have all of his Suicide Squad, Spectre, um, yeah, Star Wars Legacy. I love that run he did there. Yeah, yeah. You even have his run from Firestorm. Um, his Eternal Warrior run. His Magnus Robot Fighter run. And Sleepy Reader 666, I know I've heard Brez mention your name. I am drawing a blank on it. I am so sorry. Okay, Paulo says the pirate guy you're thinking of was Star Slayer. Ah, okay, yeah. Yeah, if I remember. Yeah, Star Slayer, he was kind of like the. I remember seeing this comic, I was thinking, okay, so this is like Shaft as a pirate. I am sorry, but that's just how I remember that comic looking. Okay, and Sleepy Reader 666, Star Slayer had a. Okay, yeah, you're right. I remember that now too. He kind of looked like Sean Connery from Zardoz, didn't he? And again, I could be wrong. I run into a lot of. I I seem to remember. Okay, Paul says. Oh, Mike Grail wrote him. Okay. Paul says I've never read many Star Wars comics. I've always had more of an interest in the Star Trek expanded universe than the Star Wars expanded universe. Well, I guess we're both in the same boat then, Paolo, because they've both kind of been rebooted. I mean, I'm a Star Wars fan and I'm a Trekkie, so. But I really do love, when it comes to my favorite sci-fi series, Doctor Who pretty much takes over that as far as TV sci-fi goes. I mean, I love Star Wars, love Star Trek, but Doctor Who is my number one. Yeah, I'm actually wondering, I don't know if any of you guys watch Doctor Who or not, but, yeah, this, last, season finale really was, it was, pretty big. But I'm wondering if they are actually going to finally have a female doctor in Doctor Who, because, it also has me curious. Um, but, yeah, about that just me, though. Okay, so, anyway, I recently picked up a comic, Blaze of Glory, Last Ride of the Western Heroes. It's incidentally also by John Ostrander, um, and it's pretty much it's pretty much about Marvel's Western heroes, like Two Gun Kid, Rawhide Kid, Ghost, the original Ghost Rider, Gunhawk, um, pretty much all of their Western heroes in a kind of like a Last Stand, Magnificent Seven kind of story. As kind of like a send off to them because it actually is a really good story, and I love westerns. Uh, I mean, I love westerns. Give me any kind of western, space western, post-apocalyptic western. I mean, I just love westerns. I love the feel of westerns. Uh, so yeah, it's the style of westerns and like cowboys, gunslingers. That is my that's my bread and butter basically. Okay, Apollo says, I like watching classic Who on BBC reruns. Tom Baker's still the best. Yeah, Tom Baker. Now, well, let's be honest. Tom Baker was the longest running Doctor. It's kind of hard to top him. Uh, okay, Apollo also says, I have. Oh. And, okay, Apollo says, oh, yeah, Blaze of Glory 2. Yeah, yeah, it was a real gritty story. I also like how they kind of explained some of it, how all the more kid-friendly versions, Marvel had shown were pretty much like, okay, they were just dime store novel versions, and yeah, I kind of, one, yeah, okay, Palace also says Two Gun Kid was a favorite of mine from the Avengers. Yeah, I love Two Gun Kid. I mean, ironically, the first time I was introduced to Two Gun Kid was when he showed up in She-Hulk. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big She-Hulk fan, but yeah, that was the first time I was actually introduced to him. I was like, I kind of feel embarrassed because I feel like I should have known about him um, before that. But yeah, Two Gun Kid, saw him, fell in love with the character. Yeah, but he pretty much is kind of Marvel's equivalent to the Lone Ranger. And going with the fact I love westerns, I love Lone Ranger too. So yeah, I mean, also guys, opinion. Do you think Marvel should do like, or even DC too? Do you think Marvel and DC should kind of have like their own movie or TV line that's dedicated to like their Western characters? Because a lot of their Western characters they could easily fill movies, TV shows. Kind of like bring Westerns back. I mean, Westerns are kind of already on the rise again. But if you have Marvel stamped on a Western series or a Western show or Western movie, I'm pretty sure people will go see it. Like without question because it's Marvel. mean, that's just me though, because so yeah, but I gotta say though, I really do wish Marvel. And here's one thing which Marvel would do is, for, like, just bring some of their like less iconic characters back. Really like trying to push them a bit more. If not in the comics, at least in the movies and TV shows, something like Black Knight, Dane Whitman, the Black Knight. Um, love him. I yeah, I really wish they would like Black Knight. I think he is a highly underrated character in Marvel. Okay, Powell says it's easier for DC if they made a more decent Jonah Hex this time around. Yeah, I also love Jonah Hex. Really, when I heard DC was doing an HBO show, I was kind of hoping that it would have been like a hard, gritty, realistic, Jonah Hex show instead of Watchmen miniseries. Don't get me wrong, I like Watchmen well enough. Oddly enough, I'm one of the few people that don't think Watchmen is the best comic ever made. I think it's a very good comic. I probably have lost most of you as viewers now saying that, but I just gotta be honest. I really think Watchmen had its time, its place. It has a very big part of comic history. But I agree with Jeff Johns when he said that, saying that every comic has to be like Watchmen is insane. You know, um, I mean, that's just my opinion. I really think Jonah Hex could work as a hard, gritty show on HBO, kind of like Westworld or Black Sails, or or something, just something like that. Okay, Paul also says for Marvel, I do Two Gun Kid as a steampunk. Oh, okay. Well, that'd become more like what's called a cattle punk, where basically it's pretty much a steampunk only as a Western style. Um, and yeah, I can actually see that working. Yeah, like really working because you can have more. Really, I think a lot of stuff like that, like steampunk, cattle punk, diesel punk, uh, really are kind of underrated. A lot these days. Usually, if there's any kind of punk style that shows up, it's cyberpunk. I mean, I like cyberpunk too, but you know, um, yeah, that is something that needs to get out there more. And Two Gun Kids, steampunk style, yeah, I am right there with you. I would watch that. I would pay any amount of money to see that happen. What else? Um, what else? I would also love to see a Justice League international show. Throw Booster Gold on there, Captain Atom. Obviously, they probably wouldn't let them use Batman, but I mean, really, if we're getting a Teen Titans show, I think we could get a Justice League International show, because have Ted Cord, have Booster Gold, have Captain Atom, um, have have Big Bar, have I mean, because there's a lot. I mean, there are a lot of characters they probably couldn't use for that kind of show, but I think they could scrounge up quite a lot. Like for instance, you know, Doctor Light. Have Doctor Light. Have Elongated Man. Doctor Fate. Hopefully, they can have Doctor Fate on a Just League International show. Ice, Fire. I mean, I think they could do a Just League International show. But what do you guys think? Personally, I think the Justice League and the JLI are one of the more underrated DC teams. Just because, okay, they think, oh, it was more comedy based. Well, yeah, it was more comedy based, but like it or not, that was the post-crisis Justice League. And people think like, oh, well, it was comedy, so it couldn't have been that good. I mean, yeah, okay, it was more of a it was more lighthearted, more jokey, more things. But I think we need more of that in comics these days. You know, at least superhero comics, because I know, like I said earlier, everyone is trying to be Watchmen. You know, it's like, and it sucks. Because where I was just thinking the other day, not a lot of comics. I don't know, there are plenty more, but like most comics, like some Batman comics, I would not let my little cousins read. And like the main Batman stuff, I wouldn't necessarily let them read because, like, especially the New 52 stuff, where the Joker has his face cut off. I'm like, no, I'm not letting my little cousin read that. And I think there needs to be at least more of a steady stream of comics that can appeal to, like, okay, take Squirrel Girl, for instance, at Marvel, or Hellcat at Marvel, even, uh, or even, Batgirl at DC, or like, there was that, or a new Captain Marvel comic for DC. Like, I remember they had this, Captain Marvel comic, Billy Batson and the Power of Shazam. Um, and they had, now that was a great comic. I think there needs to be more of a focus to make some comics for kids. And because I look at it like this: if shows like, I don't know if any of you guys watch Steven Universe or Adventure Time or anything like that, but those are shows. Or Gravity Falls, or Star versus the Forces of Evil, things like that. Those are kid shows that have great plotting, great story structure, great world building that adults like, myself. I'm 27 years old, and I can get into pretty much any cartoon, like, whether it has a big overarching plot or not. But some of these cartoons, I am amazed at the detail that has gone into them. And I think that there are comics, and I think that DC and Marvel, especially, are missing out on a lot by not properly focusing on comics for kids, or like making series for kids, because a lot more of them anyway. Because, like, that's the future of their business there. Because, you know, and really, it's just, I honestly think, they're missing their demographic. They're relying on cartoons and stuff, when really, if they want to make the comics last, get more kids into comics by giving them comics that are more for them. And then, and that's the gateway into bigger stuff, into the more adult stuff, that I read, that we all read. Um, and, I'm sorry for the rambling. Let me see what you guys have any more questions. Okay, no, now Paolo says, I'm afraid the network would try to make the JLI into too much of a comedy. I'm not sure they understand the necessary balance between the serious and funny parts. I can see that. Like, okay, I'll take what Marvel's doing with New Warriors. They're having Squirrel Girl, they're having Mr. Immortal. They're pretty much making, like, the MCU version of the New Warriors into the Great Lakes Avengers. And really, the Great Lakes Avengers, I love the Great Lakes Avengers. They're this screwball, for those of you who may not know, they're this, like, screwball team that has, like, all their powers seem lame on paper, but like, when you really think about it, they are not. They're kind of like a team of Aquaman, pretty much, like how everyone thinks, oh, Aquaman's lame, but like, when you actually read the comic, he actually isn't. Their whole thing is everyone underestimates them, and they're kind of goofballs by nature, but their powers actually do work. And the New Warriors are actually a lot different than that. The New Warriors could be funny, but they weren't exactly, ha ha ha, this is a comedy thing. Now, I see what you say about the JLI, Paolo, and I agree. I think that's something Marvel's doing with the New Warriors in that same sense. I'm still going to watch the show, obviously, but yeah, I do think that some studios, some TV showrunners or producers or what have you look at a team or a character and they look at the surface and they don't bother to read deeper into it. Or in some cases, they read too deep into too many things, and that's how we get things like Man of Steel or Batman v Superman. And it's where it's just like it's not fun. I mean, if you take some things too far, it stops being fun for everyone. And Batman v Superman is an example of that. Uh, Man of Steel. I can still like Man of Steel. I like some of the things they did. I mean, on paper, it's not a bad movie, but it is nowhere near as good as it could have been. And mostly I blame a lot of that on the Nolan influence, Christopher Nolan influence. He has no business being the go-to style guy for DC. Especially because this is Superman, and he did Batman well enough. I like the Dark. I like Batman Begins. I like the Dark Knight. Dark Knight Rises could have been so much better, and Man of Steel could have been so much better. And I think DC's main problem, though, as far as too much comedy or too much seriousness, is they don't know when to. Pretty much, they don't have they don't have any kind of oversight. Marvel has Kevin Feige. They have they have their own studio. They have their own people to run this. They have their own. Sure, Disney bought them, but really Disney bought they bought them to get Marvel Studios, and Marvel Studios it's still pretty much run. Sure, they have to answer to Disney now, for the most part, but they're still pretty much running themselves. DC has never had their own studio. They've never had to do anything. It's always been pretty much Warner Brothers calling the shots. And I think that can be to their detriment. That has been to their detriment on a lot of projects. Because, okay, you have people that are not. I mean, at Warner Brothers, sure, there may be a few fans of the properties that have a hand in it, but there's not enough that can go, okay, this is how this should be, this is how this should be, and there was no clear unifying voice, there was no clear plan. And, yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. But what do you guys think? Wow, I have been rambling for so long here. So anyway, what do you guys think? Wow, so let's see if there are any more questions here. No more questions. Guys, if there aren't gonna be any more questions, okay. Well, I'll go keep running for a few more minutes, just see if we get more questions. If not, in the next few minutes, I'll just end this. So yeah. Anyway, but going back to what you said, what you were saying, Paulo, yeah, because too much comedy can be a bad thing, and there's one place I think comedy is too much of a bad thing. And I love comedies, but I think one of the main things is Western animation. There is no serious Western animation anymore. Like animated series, Japan, like most of the main, serious Western animation that is aired. I can only think of one, and that would be Samurai Jack season 5. And the rest of American Western animation is, comedies. Adult comedies. They try to be funny. They try to be, and over in Japan, there are a lot of serious anime. You have Black Lagoon. You have Berserk. You have Hellsing. You have so many serious adult anime. And America, it's all comedy. If it's adult animation, it's a comedy. And to me, it needs I would love, they said there was going to be like a Deadpool animated series. I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. But the thing is, Deadpool is funny. I mean, again, they have to work the comedy in there. And I am not anti-comedy, but I think that there are a lot of things that actually just, like, I would love to see a straight-laced, like, maybe a Punisher animated series, full-fledged, Wolverine animated series, something like that, to, like, counterbalance everything. All things being equal. Um, but anyway, guys, I think I'm going to wrap this up now. It was great having you. I don't know when the next stream will be, but yeah, I am just going to end this right here. Thank you so much for being here. Uh, Mind the comics, or everyone else that Paolo, Rez, everyone that has that showed up for this first experiment, so to speak, on streaming. I thank you so much, and yeah, that will do it. This is the Omnitron 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.